This is the COSTWAY 12000 BTU mini split air conditioner and heater, and right now it's mounted on my bedroom wall. You'll probably notice this is one of those mini split units. It's got that modern, white, minimalist look. The unit itself is pretty slim, around 7.5 inches deep, a little less than 3 feet wide, and under a foot tall, so it doesn't take up much space on my wall at all. There's a simple digital display panel, some indicator lights, and adjustable louvers that you can set to swing up and down or keep stationary. You can see it's unobtrusive, with rounded corners and this bright white finish, so it honestly blends in with just about any decor. I have it hanging above a dresser, and at first, I worried it would make the whole area look cluttered, but honestly, I barely notice it anymore, except when it's quietly doing its job. From the outside, it comes across as something techy, but not intimidating. The remote that comes included is lightweight, simple, and pretty self-explanatory, with little icons showing temperature, fan speed, swing timer settings, and modes for cooling or heating. The system is designed as a split unit setup, so there's a second, slightly larger outdoor unit that connects via pipes through the wall. Everything's tucked away and neat, which was a relief for me, since I don't want a bunch of exposed wires or big, clunky appliances in my space. Talking about my experience, I decided to try this mini split system last year after traveling abroad and noticing how common these units were in hotels and apartments. In my own home, especially after my kids moved out, I just didn't see the point of running central air through the whole house. Mostly I hang out in the bedroom and living room now. I wanted something that would let me cool or heat just the space I'm in, and hopefully save on my energy bills. I had been skeptical at first. Would it actually keep the room comfortable? Would it be noisy and keep me up at night? I didn't know much about mini splits, and honestly, the thought of having something new installed was a little stressful. I ended up getting a professional to do the installation, which I do recommend for this kind of product. It took a couple of hours, but once it was done, the system was up and running, and I could start playing around with different settings to see how things felt. One of the key features of this COSTWAY model is how energy efficient it claims to be. SEER 2 is just a rating that tells you how efficient your air conditioner is over the whole season, and this one's rated at around 20. For comparison, an old window AC unit might only be around 10. The higher the SEER 2, the less electricity your system uses over time, so that was a big selling point for me. I'm definitely noticing a dip in my monthly electric bills now that I'm only cooling or heating the parts of my house I use most. The system runs off a regular 115-volt outlet, so I didn't have to change up my electrical wiring, and the compressor is one of those inverter types, which means it doesn't constantly turn on and off. Instead, it ramps the power up or down to keep the temp steady. That also helps with both comfort and keeping my costs down. The comfort has been awesome so far, honestly. In the peak of summer, my bedroom used to get sweltering at midday, especially since it faces west. With this mini split, I can set the temperature to whatever I want. For me, 72 Griever feels perfect to sleep in. It cools the room down surprisingly fast, maybe 10 or 15 minutes for about 200 square feet, sometimes even quicker with the turbo setting engaged. Winter's a different story. I actually turn on the heating function, and it keeps my space nice and warm without that dry, stuffy air I used to get from baseboard heaters. The unit's dehumidifier mode also pulls out a surprising amount of moisture in the summer, so the air feels fresh, not muggy. Something that really stood out to me is just how quiet the indoor unit is. I'm sensitive to noise, particularly at night, and this model is much quieter than I expected. The official number is about 41 dBm, which is basically a soft hum, quieter than my old window AC by a mile, and it's way less intrusive than any portable heater I've used. I can sleep right underneath it and not be bothered, which was one of my initial concerns. The remote even has a little display off feature, so if I set it by the bed, I don't get bothered by flashing lights at night. There are a lot of convenient functions too. You can set a timer to auto on or auto off, so for example, if I wanted to click off in the early morning before I wake up, or turn on to warm up the room by the time I get home in the evening, it just does it. The Eco mode has been useful for stretching my energy savings further. I also like that there's a self-cleaning mode, where the system ramps up the heat on the internal coil to burn off dust and moisture. It takes about half an hour and leaves the air coming out feeling cleaner. There are a few things that I appreciate, especially with this unit. It's perfect for people, like me, who want flexibility over their heating and cooling, and want to save a bit of money by not running a big system for the entire house. The washable filter is easy to pop out and clean in the sink, which keeps the room smelling fresher. I can change settings without getting up from the couch or bed. The temperature swings are much smaller than what I had with my old heating system, so I'm not waking up hot or chilly. It's very consistent, and the climate in my bedroom feels tailored to me. From my experience, having separate units for each main room makes the house so much more comfortable, especially if someone in your household likes things warmer than you do. But there are a couple of things about the COSTWAY mini split I'm not wild about. To be honest, installation isn't really something I could handle myself. The setup involves refrigerant piping and mounting the outdoor unit, so unless you know what you're doing, it's better to hire a pro and budget for it. The outdoor compressor is on the heavier side and wasn't easy to move around. I also read, and experienced to a small extent, that if the refrigerant lines aren't sealed perfectly by the installer, you might run into little leaks. That didn't happen to me, fortunately, but it's good to be aware of. Another thing is the mounting bracket for the indoor unit, which felt a bit flimsy when the installer put it up. It hasn't budged since mounting, but it gave me a pause. The other detail is the remote. While simple, if you misplace it, you'll definitely miss the convenience, since there's not much control on the actual unit itself. In conclusion, I'd recommend this for anyone looking to add efficient, reliable heating and cooling to certain spots in their home, especially if you're finding your central system is overkill or just too expensive. It's perfect for single rooms, guest spaces, or even a garage workshop. I've really noticed savings on my bills, and the comfort has been excellent during both the warmest and coldest months. If you're like me, cautious at first, but hoping for a solution that's not super complicated to use, the COSTWAY mini split makes things easy once you get it installed by a pro. Please check the comments section for detailed information about the COSTWAY 12000BTU mini split air conditioner and heater. Thank you for watching.